Miley Cyrus.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing really, really good. Happy to be talking to you.
Good. Happy to be talking to you as well. This is a little different for me anyway, having to do an interview via Zoom.
I know. Where are you right now? I'm at home, but I created this little kind of environment for myself so it could feel a little less. I don't like this new way of I miss the entertaining escapism of like pop culture and all the things that are totally surreal. So I try to bring it to here.
Yes, I love it. I love the vibe.
Thank you very much.
Looks great.
I'm
I'm
jealous
actually
about Tim Hortons.
Tim Hortons. So you've had it when you've been in
Are you
Toronto
kidding
or
me?
in Canada?
I lived in Toronto for 3 years, and my dad, anytime he wouldn't if it was my birthday, he would forget something. He'd show up to my school with a bag of honey crullers.
Oh, is that right?
Those were like dangerous for me. I'd actually get cut off by my mom because they really sent me over the top.
Yeah.
It was
Oh,
like
they're
my
delicious.
dad's little secret to get us to do things for him.
Have you had the Timbits? Have you ever had Timbits?
I
The
am
little
one
round ones?
I'm loyal to a fault where like once I like something, I'm the kind of person that'll eat the same breakfast every day. So I'm a
Yeah.
honey cruller girl. So is my little sister.
Oh, so good. Yeah, it's camp day at Tim Hortons today. So you buy a coffee and you help send a kid to camp.
That is awesome. That is very
Mhm.
cool.
So how have you been? How have you managed through the last few months?
You know what? I think that all of us have kind of taken this as an adjustment period to kind of like reevaluate. I know that, in the beginning of quarantine, I think a lot of people physically kind of cleaned house and kind of, found ways to keep themselves busy. And then once we kind of got through this kind of physical idea of what no longer serves us, what's not ours, what doesn't fit anymore, I think we started doing that within ourselves. And that's kind of where I've been at for the last few months. I think originally, like everybody, that busy work kicks in. You're like, how can I distract from what's going on? This is just so much information to download. But then once I kind of got through that anxiety and fear and was like, you know what, this is actually, I'm going to take advantage of this time, was able to kind of go through and reclaim and repurpose some of the things that I was carrying around.
I felt like it was a way of the universe telling us to reset and just think about what's really important, because I know I learned so much in the last few months. It was really eye-opening.
I think a lot of people have, and I think it's hard. And it definitely brings a little guilt to feel any sort of, I needed this, because so many people are losing people that they love. And it's so important. Our healthcare workers are just working overtime for us. And there's so much stress going on, as a culture and society. It's so stressful. And, and we got to be thankful for everybody that's just kind of tirelessly working as we're starting to kind of get back to our reality. Those people are not. They're still living that COVID-19 experience every single day. So I think we have to be really grateful towards them. But then also, sometimes we do got to make that lemonade. And I've been trying to like really kind of look at this as a beneficial time in my life, especially when things are moving so fast. I think really we kind of collect things. We pick up these things along the way. All of us are just I know I'm very sticky, that when something kind of happens, it does stick with me. And I wouldn't say I'm a person that doesn't let things go, but sometimes I don't even feel their weight because I'm moving so fast. And now being able to go, okay, you know what, this doesn't fit me anymore. This is better served passing this down as, an experience to my little sister, walk her through it, what it felt like, and then get rid of it once it's done its purpose. So kind of going through and going, why have I been carrying this around? And I just feel lighter now.
That's great. And one of the things I noticed you did was you had like a TV show or a show on Instagram.
See, I was coming for all of you guys, and I was always on the other side of the table.
Yeah.
I was like, "Ooh, that sounds fun." That's basically, accepted interrogation. So that felt really good. I liked getting all the juicy from everybody, and I had enough experience of people interviewing me that I'm like, I kind of know what to do in this.
Would you ever consider doing a TV show, like if you ever got the opportunity?
I think that. It was definitely nice to be a listener, because a lot of the time I'm on the other end where my job is to kind of talk and entertain.
Yep.
And I would say that my friends and family know that part of it is just being a gossip queen and wanting to know the tea. But also I'm a good listener. So I think that would be something fun to do at some point. Maybe I'll rebrand. It won't be a talk show. It'll be a listening show.
Hey, that's great. That's a good idea.
It probably wouldn't be very successful with me. I probably wouldn't be able to stop myself, but maybe.
That's one thing I really love about you, though, Miley, is that you're always just being yourself. You are confident. You make no apologies for who you are. And that's really refreshing. How did you get to that point?
I think, you know, with kind of being unapologetic, I would say I actually learned that it is okay to say sorry about the things that you feel like are not a part of your character, but to
Hmm.
say sorry for things that are a part of you and make you who you are, that's kind of where I draw a line of it's not acceptable to me. And so I think that I actually have learned to feel sorry and to feel like I didn't know what was best, or I didn't choose the right words, or something that I did was with I wasn't being mindful, and so that was harmful. And that I can totally claim. I can totally claim my wrongs, but I'm not one of those people that says sorry, but and then says it again. You know, when
Hmm.
says someone says sorry before doing something. I've
Yep.
really never understood that. I think that's actually called manipulation.
Yeah. Yeah. And I find I was guilty of that too.
Yeah, it's
Doing,
really
oh, sorry,
easy.
but
It really, especially as women, you know what? Like
yes.
I was reading a lot about how to feel, how to politely not ask. And I think a lot of us have say, like, here's one of the things that I'm really bad at. I can barely order for myself at a restaurant because I don't like the word order. I don't really want to order someone to do something. Um,
Okay.
you know, I have a real weird thing with that word. So when I would always, you know, we go out to eat as a family or whatever, I'd say, you know, could I please maybe if I no, it's like on the freaking menu, just say I'm gonna have. And
Yeah.
I, you know, a lot of the times, you know, men I know in my family don't say, could I please? My dad goes, I'm gonna have steak.
Mhm.
And you know, for me, my mom was like, maybe if you don't mind. And I'm like, no, you're gonna have it too. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the way that I think we've been programmed of like overly polite. I actually had someone tell me that one time too, that I was kind of overdoing it to the point of discomfort. And I'm like, that's just, I'm country. That's how we do it. And so
Yeah.
that's what I think, you know, especially from like kind of being a woman in the industry, I was asked to ask a lot. And I thought that if
Mhm.
I didn't get loud, I wouldn't be heard. And now I've learned that that really isn't true. You just got to say it in a way that, you know, this is what, this isn't, I'm not asking, I'm just saying it, but I can say it calm with respect, and I don't need to yell.
That's right. You don't need to feel guilty about anything.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
guilt is a lot. Me and
Yeah.
my therapist talk about guilt a lot. I'm very, very guilty, but I tell him he can't really change it because I only call him out of guilt. I don't really
Yeah.
want to call him most of the time. So I'm like, you really want to fix that about me because I'm only calling you because I feel guilty about canceling.
I gotta say, I like the new look. It's very
Thank you.
retro.
Thank you very much. It's also very easy. My mom is my hairstylist right now. I think a lot of people's mom became a hairstylist.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're finding new ways to get creative. And my mom basically can cut one hairstyle, which is a mullet, because she's been cutting my dad for the last.
Your dad had one. That's right.
Yeah, exactly. My mom's like, well, I got one thing on the menu. I'm like, I'll take it.
Well, you know what? You can pull it off. It
Thank
works.
you very much. I think the one thing that pairs nicely is you got to be able to have a little thick skin that goes with it, because you know what, like the way that I've looked has always been kind of controversial, and that's one thing I really like about having a sibling in the industry now, because I was kind of like lone wolf and I was with my dad, and no one really wants to talk about hair problems with their dad, even though no one's got more hair problems than my dad. But I like now having my sister to talk about it with, and her having that understanding of kind of what it's like to always be on a public chopping block. It feels good to have that companion.
Awesome. So let's talk about music. New music. So
Yes,
excited.
I'm super, super excited. I've been working really hard on a record that none of it had to do with this song. I wrote this song only 6 weeks ago, and that's been the great thing about kind of this quarantine time. Like, I think all of us have been connecting in different ways and taking advantages of the platforms that maybe we weren't using to its fullest potential before. That's kind of what happened when I started the talk show, and that's what really happened with the music. It's like I wrote it. I'm going to put it out, and not only am I going to put it out, but I'm going to direct it, because I think all of us have been really trying to get super creative.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So Midnight Sky, you wrote that 6 weeks ago?
Yes, which that's the
Wow.
great thing about now no longer making physical copies of anything. No
Yeah.
one can go to record stores anyways, but when we're talking about making physical copies, a lot of the time when you make a record, it's like, you know, 6 months goes by before you know, between the time that you felt it and the time that your audience is hearing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you always feel a little disconnected. Like when you and I are having this conversation now and you're saying, you know, what was going through your head when you wrote it? And I can't really remember. And I definitely can't connect to it and feel like, you know, now you can go, oh, I remember writing it like it was yesterday. It was, I
Yeah.
wrote it yesterday and I put it out online and it's great.
And there were actually a few lyrics that really stuck out to me because I did hear the song and I love it.
Thank
I
you
love
very
it.
much.
Born to run, don't belong to anyone, don't need to be loved by you. That's a very powerful statement and very liberating at the same time.
I'm happy you heard it and hear it that way, because that was really important for me in that lyric. And I think another lyric that I would like to pair with that sentiment is forever and ever no more. Because I think this idea that when forever isn't complete, you're a failure is really unfair and villainizing, and also makes it seem like it's one person's fault. And I don't think that there really is a fault in forever. It's just that realistically, I mean, it seems like, especially for someone like me that evolves and changes so quickly, unless someone's kind of keeping up with your pace, which is almost an impossible ask, you got to be, you know, not in this bitter or jaded way, but have an acceptance of disconnection, which is a lot of, you know, I think a lot of, you know, spiritual and I practiced yoga for a long time. That's a big through line in yoga about disconnection, you know, being able to get on your mat and leave it all behind and put a pin in it, and compartmentalization. And so I think compartmentalizing that, and I think that it's kind of unfair that as young, you know, children were taught to say, this is my best friend forever. Like,
Yes.
well, you know, at 3 years old, I don't know if you could really determine forever, you know, and
Well, people change, right?
people change.
Yeah.
You never know who you're going to become and who the other person will be. And that's okay. And that there's no failure in that.
Mm-hmm. So did you feel better after writing this song? Like just letting it all out?
I definitely felt better in the way that I felt like, you know, you want your art to be beneficial to yourself and to other people that are listening to it. And I've tried to not ever just put out something just because, you know, my fans want new music. You know, I want it to be relevant. I want it to be necessary. I feel like if you're not really necessary, it doesn't connect, you know. People need it. And not only did they need new music, but they needed to kind of fill in that. I felt like my life was very like A to C. And I don't think that people knew how we got here. And I wanted to fill in what happened in that B, which I guess is kind of standing for a bridge over that kind of like, my life was very like rapid and you know, at a time there was like a big public breakup and losing my house to a fire, and that went very fast and was very kind of traumatic for me. And so I do think that I kind of needed this self-reflective time, and then to be able to write about it in an articulate and poetic way that I felt was in no way do I feel like apologizing or justification, but just connecting the dots, because understanding is everything. And I think people a lot of the time jump to a conclusion before an understanding, and understanding is more important.
Very true. And you did mention directing. So you directed the video for this, for Midnight Sky.
Yes, you would have loved this experience. I basically walked on a set with some men that kind of thought, this is how I'm going to tell, you know, Miley, first time director, not, you know, doesn't know what she's doing. And it's like, I've kind of been watching from the other side of the camera for the last 15 years, but growing up on a TV show, having my directors, you know, allow me to stay overtime. I remember when I was young on set of Hannah saying, you know, can I stay and introduce myself to each camera operator and go through the way that the camera works and what light we're using, and getting an understanding of kind of technicality. And then like a lot of people at my age, you know, 27, you're kind of like, whether you've attained these skills from college or from interning for someone, or you kind of go, all right, now I'm like coming up on my 30s, like, what do I want to do with my life? What am I going to do with these skills? And so being a writer director was something that I wanted to do. I wanted to get into filmmaking, but a nice kind of trial was a 3-minute and 30-second video, no characters, no other actors that are like, you don't know what you're doing. You know, I'm kind of the only actor. So that was a really, really helpful exercise to know how far away from that goal I would be.
So is the video going to be out on Friday along with the single?
Yep, August 14th,
we'll get to see
song and video. My visuals really kind of like, I would say, guide, you know, my music and kind of put everyone into an environment. And one thing that I would like to say lyrically as well is, you know, when we talk about like the midnight sky is the road I'm taking, head high up in the clouds. I think this has been a time none of us really want our head in the clouds. We want to be very alert and aware and present. But for 3 minutes of a song, I think it's healthy to allow yourself to, again, have that good old fashioned escapism of entertainment.
Yes.
So I'm missing that. And I think anything I do this year that'll be a priority is to give everyone that escapism.
So does that mean we are getting more new music?
Yeah, I guess so. You
Yeah.
know, the
New
lyric in the
album?
song, can't bite the devil on my tongue. I always say things when I'm not supposed to. But yes, I think I'll be putting out some more music this year.
Awesome. And one last thing, Miley, do you have a message for your fans watching this right now?
I would say one to anyone listening on the healthcare kind of frontline worker side that my greatest appreciation and gratitude is with you, and that because of those efforts, hopefully I'm able to get in person with my fans soon. I would love for us to be packed into a venue, listening to this record, performing it for you. So hopefully, because of those incredible people out there doing the heavy lifting, we can get back to enjoying ourselves soon, all
Yeah.
together again.
Have that real connection.
I know I'm begging for it for sure.
Well, Miley, thank you so much for your time. I enjoyed talking to you. You
You
just
as
seem
well.
like you're in such a great place, and I just found it very enlightening talking
Thank
to
you.
you.
I had a great time. Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
Have a good one. Yep.